Every time someone accepts my friend request, they disappear. That's what this dude told me previously, right before I accepted his friend request. I'm in a lift with Boo the cat, who I rescued from the apartment of Lucia, one of the latest people to disappear after being friended by this guy on Discord. Lucia's dead. I'm next, and here's what I know. Anyone who accepts his friend request hears a knocking at the door, and the knocking follows them. Everywhere. As in, it shows up at other doors, every door. And it's not a normal knocking. And as soon as you open the door, you disappear. At least that's what the Discord guy, Tim, told me when he hired me to figure out what was going on. See, Tim doesn't know who's behind the knocking either. He claims that every time he tries to chat with the person, within about 5 minutes or so, they type BRB or hang on a sec, and then they ghost him. Personally, I have to think that there's more to his role than just some innocent guy who can't keep a conversation going because people keep exiting. When I agreed to investigate for him, I had him send me all the chats and histories with the people who had friended him over the past 2 weeks and disappeared. The first person I'd ID'd from the chats was Lucia. That's how I wound up in the lower level of a duplex, snooping around in an empty apartment while a cat screamed at me, and finally, where I checked where Boo the cat was meowing and looking, which was under the bed, I found Lucia. I cannot unsee her. Lucia's dead, screaming face will always be in my nightmares for the rest of my life, which, honestly, might not be that long, since I'm hearing the knocking now, too. Been hearing it since chatting with Tim this morning, and unless I can solve this thing, my next update will be my obit. After the lift drops me off back home, I climb back into the basement office with Boo, through the egress window since I can't use doors, and I release him to hide under the sofa. Then, I pull up the list of Discord usernames Tim gave me. 8 missing people in total. But I've only managed to confirm the deaths of 2 of them. Lucia and Quentin, a boomer whose recent birthday will now be a funeral, since a neighbor found him tucked in his closet. His mouth was open in a scream, the way his eyes were bulged out, I'll never forget. Those were his neighbor's words, describing him. Same way I found Lucia. And that's probably the same way I'll be found too. The thing about the supernatural is, there's always rules. They're just not the same ones we're used to governing our world. The trick to surviving is figuring out a particular entity's playbook before it takes your life. So, based on the fact that Lucia, Quentin, and I all live in the same geographic area, one of the rules of this knock-knock creature is range. The knocker's influence in the physical world is restricted by distance. And here's the key point. It's restricted by distance, but a distance from what? Well, I decided to check Tim's IP address, compare his location to Quentin's, Lucia's, and mine, and lo and behold, he's smack dab in the middle of us, the center around which we all turn. Either he's the knocker, or he was the first victim. Next, I run some searches through the local news, using what I've learned about the deaths so far, and boom, another victim. Teen prank ends in tragedy. Questions linger in the death of 15-year-old boy who disappeared after what police describes as a prank gone wrong. According to authorities, Dwayne and 2 other teenage boys were live streaming their reactions to a Discord server where people described supernatural encounters. The teen told the police that Dwayne was spooked by a story of a ghostly entity knocking on a door. In a video that has since gone viral, Dwayne can be seen opening the door, screaming and running from the room. He was later found unresponsive in the crawl space beneath the house and was pronounced dead at the scene. Authorities suspect that his death was to be formed from natural causes, but an autopsy is pending. And now, my pulse ratchets up, perspiration beating on my forehead because a viral video? My fingers fly across my keys. One of Dwayne's friends posted it and removed it, but Nothing ever posted is ever truly gone if you know how to search. And bingo. Got it. Dwayne's reaction to the prank. It doesn't show his actual death, of course. No. It shows a moment that, from my perspective, is even more important. I'm about to watch him open the door. 3 teens crowd the screen. Yo, check this, says one, braces glinting as he flashes a cocky smile. Wait, bro, show the screen, says another, seizing the camera. Blurry footage as the lens zooms in on a laptop, with a Discord chat up. Then, the view pans back to the teen with the silver smile, narrating, explaining that they're about to debunk this supernatural bullshit, while the second teen aims the camera at him. There's some laughter from both, and then, the view panning to the third, sitting by the laptop. He waves, shy smile, pushes his glasses awkwardly up the bridge of his nose, and my heart sinks. Because, hell, I already know what's about to happen to him. This sweet, nerdy kid. At least toast. The wannabe influencer with the silver smile says,
This is my man Dwayne. He's checking out these scary stories. Supposedly, in the next 5 minutes, we're gonna hear a knocking.
The camera jumps, and there's a chorus of, holy shits! And then, a deep baritone voice calls out,
Everything okay?
A chubby, middle-aged man with glasses pokes his head into the room, and the boys groan because,
We're recording!
And he backs out and shuts the door. Wannabe influencer and camera boy argue about whether to keep the recording or restart it. And meanwhile, half out of view, Dwayne cocks his head like a golden retriever. His eyes dart to the door.
Can't you guys hear it?
He asks. He keeps repeating himself louder until camera boy focuses on him, and he adds,
Seriously, you can't hear that? Hear what?
It's unclear who asks this. All three then fall into arguing, talking over each other.
Yo, he's bullshitting. Just open it, bro. How can you not hear that? It's fucking loud. He's really scared,
asks someone. I think it's the wannabe influencer. We're about 4 minutes in, and I'm at the edge of my seat. Don't open the door, I silently will to the trio, as if it weren't a done deal already. As if there were any hope for this poor fucking kid. The others keep ribbing him, and he shrills,
Why don't you open it then?
I feel his panic, because I hear the same knocking, right now, from the door at the top of the basement stairs. Knock, 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 knock. An incessant drumbeat out of sync with my galloping heart. The other two tell him to quit being such a pussy.
Look at him, crying like a little girl.
They mock and jeer. Dwayne can't take it anymore and stands up. My heart rages. I don't want to see this next part. He grips the knob, and his buddies hoot and holler as Dwayne straightens his back and flings the door wide open. The shrill scream that erupts from my laptop all but shatters the speakers. In that moment, Dwayne is not a teenager. He's a child. His terrified wail piercing my eardrums. It lasts only a couple of seconds. That shriek, and the camera dropping. Black screen, and then the camera snatched up again. And Dwayne is gone. A blur sprinting out of the room. And the view ends on a pair of sliding doors, one flung open with the entry porch. And now I'm staring at a blank screen. Video's over. I rewind, pause, and play back the moment he opens the door. Freeze it and advance frame by frame until I have a clear view of the open door just after the camera's picked up. I stare and stare, numb with shock and horror and a sort of directionless rage. There's nothing really visible in the door frame, and I'm no closer now than I was this morning trying to figure out how to beat this thing. So, I messaged Tim. Tim.
What do you mean they die? How do they die?
Me. They die of fear, man. of total fucking terror.
Oh, no. This is so messed up. What is happening?
I send him the video.
Jesus, I don't want to watch this. What the hell?
You ask me to tell you what happens to the people who disappear. This is what? We're playing a game, and I don't know the rules. Tim, your Discord is somehow part of the playbook. I'm gonna need access if I'm gonna survive this thing.
Access? You want to show me my login info? Dude, I don't know. Like, I don't even really know you.
Come on, man. These people died because you friended them. Whether you intended that to happen or not, these deaths come down to you, and so will mine when I'm next. The knocking won't quit, and I need to solve this.
But why do you need more than screenshots? Sorry, bro. I'll send more screenshots if that's what you want, but not my login.
Ugh, this fucking guy. Screenshot this, I type with the pick of my middle finger. But I don't send it, because if I do, I might as well marinate myself, lie down on a platter, and ring the dinner bell, because I will definitely be cooked. I looked again at the video. How is there nothing there? If there's a way to beat this thing, it's in Tim's account, and I'll need his cooperation. So, I unclench my jaw, sit back in my chair, and smile. Here's a little confession. My reformation from a con man to a paranormal investigator isn't so much a revolutionary change as it is the same old routine with some new lyrics. Yeah, it's been a couple years since I've cleaned up my act, but even reformed, I'm still a coyote wagging his tail to convince the world that he's a friendly dog. And whether I'm swindling some poor sap out of his savings or just winning my girl's skeptical family over, it's the same performance. Because, you see, it's not actually that difficult to get people to trust you. I do what I call the triple A's. Ask, agree, and affirm. First, I ask about you. Something simple and easy. Whatever you say, I agree with you. And then, I affirm your feelings. Rinse and repeat. Babe, I got you. I'ma validate all your feelings. Hell, it's just like when I'm catfishing. I'll glean little bits of information from the things you tell me, build my profile of you, that's so I know what you want to hear, and I'll make you feel so seen. I delete my middle finger message to Tim, and I say, hey man, I get it. You're just being cautious. If you can help me with screenshots, you're a lifesaver. The screenshots he sent me are completely worthless, but I use them to learn more about him. In one of them, he confides, I swear, my attempts at conversation repels people. I really wish I could meet someone online who cares about actually talking to you. Hey man, I care. Right now, Timmy boy, I care about you more than anyone in the world. Yeah, I totally agree. It's almost impossible to make a real connection these days. It's demoralizing, man, I feel you. I affirm. And then I ask, so, serious question. When you friend people online, like, what are you actually looking for? Like a salesman with the foot in the door. What I'm selling is a sense of belonging, hoping he'll open that door a little wider so I can step inside and convince him to hand over his password, his keys, whatever I need. Okay, you and me, Tim, let's get this brodeo started. In about an hour, Tim and I are having the bromance of a century. And before you ask, no, I did not get his Discord login info. I did one better. I got his home address. That way we can go from Discord buds to beer buds while figuring this whole thing out. And while I sneak onto his computer and snoop. I tell him I'll be there in 25 and I call a Lyft. And now, as I pace outside in the chilly winter air, waiting for my ride, with Boo peeking out the window after me, anxiously, now comes the really hard part. Letting my girl know where I'm going, without really letting her know where I'm going. Because I don't want her at risk. But I also don't want to go missing. She made me a promise once. Never do that to her. Never to disappear without telling her where I'll be. I need her to know enough to find my corpse if I die, at the very least.
Oh my god, Jack, I am going to kill you!
Emma screeches through her phone. What? Why? I hadn't even done anything yet.
You changed my iPad lock screen to a picture of you naked with a flower in your mouth.
Oh yeah, I did do that. I thought it'd be funny. And also, Emma's iPad lives in her room, and usually doesn't go out. But behind her patrons are seated around a cafe. The shop bell dings as people flow in and out. Her face is close up to the screen so she can whisper, and I'm distracted by the way her hair cascades over her bare shoulders. She's stunning, as always. Like a K-pop star ready to shoot an album cover. Sometimes I look at this girl and I wonder how I ever batted so far out of my league. Emma's smart and successful, and has way more academic accolades than I can count. Me? I'm a scruffy short dude. 5'6" if I'm honest. 5'9" if you're dyslexic. Like I am about writing my dating profile. No job, not even a GED. Just a checkered past and a nose for trouble. The only award I'm in the running for, and I'm pretty sure I got this thing locked down now, is the Darwin Award. Emma checks over her shoulder to make sure that no one's listening. Her cheeks flushed a pretty pink as she whispers,
I had a meeting with Yara and left the iPad on the table while I went to use the bathroom, and the whole fucking Starbucks saw your bare ass.
I burst out laughing. Okay. Did you give out my number and tell him I charge by the minute?
Seriously? I am going to punch you.
Kinky. You promise? I imagine her balling her hands into tiny cute fists as she exclaims,
Stop flirting with me while I'm scolding you. You know I take kickboxing. I will hurt you.
Yes, please, babe. Come home and punish me. There's the hang-up tone. A moment later, a text.
I'm filing for divorce.
This is their love language. I look at the text and smile, but then my heart sinks because I know now that I'm not gonna tell my girl the truth about any of what's going on. Because if she knows, she'll want to save me, and saving me would put her at risk. And the one thing that matters most in this world to me is not putting Emma at risk. I know it's stupid. She's dependable and resourceful, and honestly, she's fucking brilliant. I could really use her help. But I put Lucia's face crammed into the darkness, clawing hand over her wide mouth and a stiffened screen. And in my mind, it morphs into Emma's and... No. Of all the bad decisions that I've made so far today, and I've made plenty, this is the one stupid decision that I actually feel good about, because I know she's safe. My heart beats just a little easier. Time now for me to go and pay a house call to my new best bud, Tim. When I near the little cul-de-sac matching his address, I start to feel it. It could be anticipation, could just be an ordinary fear of uncertainty over what I'd find. But I've got that sour taste in my throat too. The metallic tang, and the slight chill on my skin. And by the time my lift drops me off at the edge of the driveway, I'm sweating, and the pit of dread in my stomach has hollowed out, and there isn't even any doors around. But I hear the knocking in my skull now. A persistent hammering. A thud, thud, thud just beating under my own heart. And when I approach the front door, it gets louder, until the knocking is almost deafening. The windows are dark and the blinds are closed. There's trash piled up in the yard and it hasn't been to the curb, just left to fester. I've typed to Discord. I'm here, I think. That's me ringing the bell.
Well, excuse me. I'm not getting up to come and greet you. My back's been killing me, but I'm here and back.
Any chance you got an open window?
Try the kitchen. I'll usually leave that one cracked since it gets real hot in there. Might be a tight squeeze, though.
The kitchen window is indeed tight. It's one of the few times I'm glad for my weaselly size. The hardest part is getting my shoulders through, and when I'm finally able to squeeze in, I find myself crouched on a filthy counter, stacked with dishes. There's old pizza boxes, cartons of half-eaten noodles covered in gray fuzz, dirty mugs developing their own ecosystem, and half-empty bottles of Mr. Clean, his face so covered in crud only his eyes peeked out, desperately begging for release. Perched on the tip of the bottle is a cockroach, big enough to serve up on a platter.
Sorry about the mess.
I tell him, compared to my last apartment, that this place is the Ritz. It's not, no matter what Emma claims about my bachelor days. Mainly due to the stink. An overpowering reek of mold, rotten food, BO, and whatever garbage juice is sleeping in the pile of trash bags. Who knows? It's rank, though. I could cocoon myself in unwashed sheets for weeks, wake up and shove my face deep into my armpit and sniff, and it'd still smell fresher than in here. And beneath the ripening odors, maybe another smell, but to be honest, I can't be sure. Can't be sure through all this stink.
Grab a beer if you want. Some in the fridge.
I'm about as tempted to grab a beer from this fridge as I am to pluck that massive roach off the countertop and pop it in my mouth. But I snatch a couple of beers as I make my way through the house. Living room, bedroom, bathroom, cautiously poking my head in each room. The atmosphere is dead silent. Finally, there's only one room left. Down a narrow hallway, towards a door at the end, slightly ajar. Still no sounds, no tapping keys, no voice calling out the door, not even a hello. Something's horribly off about all this. I should hear breathing, creaking, the squeak of a chair, or a voice. Something. Hey man, I got the beer, I call. Silence. Tim? There's no answer except for a ping on my phone.
Come on in.
Every instinct screams at me not to come on in, but I lean closer to peek through the cracked door, only to gag and stumble back. The stink. That stink. Oh God. The smell is so much worse inside that room, like a slaughtered pig carcass left to rot. And as I lean against the wall, choking on that horrific stench, Tim has the nerve to keep typing, asking me what sort of beer I like. Seriously, what the fuck is going on here, man? Run, Jack, run! I know it would be a mistake to go inside. Probably the worst mistake in a day full of bad mistakes that I could make at this moment. And I know what Emma would say to me. Everyone makes mistakes, but Jack, for the love of God, you do not need to make a career out of it. But I think of that 15-year-old Dwayne. I think of Lucia and Boo, the cat howling for her. I don't believe in vengeance, but someone's got to stand up for him. Someone's got to make sure that no one else is next. And even if going in there is risky, Emma knows as well as I do that if stupid were a career, my resume would be a mile long. Guess today I'm really gunning for that Darwin Award because I slipped through the ajar door. Pitch dark. I slipped my shirt over my nose, my skin crawling as if covered in a million centipedes. My sensitivity to the supernatural triggered so hard, every hair was standing on end, every nerve was vibrating like a plucked cord. Oh, this is bad. This is so bad. At the corner of the room, there glows a monitor, and as my eyes adjust, I make out the silhouette of a slunched figure, hands resting on the keyboard, but the hands are not moving. Even in the bluish glare of the screen, the flesh looks bloated and patchy and dark. My shirt muffles my voice. Tim? Hey, bud. You good? Tim is not good. I fumble along the walls for a light switch, and I finally flick on the overhead lights. The sudden illumination is so bright that it sears my eyeballs. Adrenaline ignites my veins like lightning, and I slam backwards into the door. A door that bumps close and begins pounding with a thunderous knocking that hammers my bones and threatens to splinter the wood. A knocking I can barely hear over a sledgehammering heart booming in my chest. all air sucked out of my lungs, and because, oh, fuck me, on every surface of that room are symbols. They cover the walls, the ceiling. They circle in a mad spiral, circling and circling around a slouching figure in the chair. A figure whose eyes have melted out, and in that rotting skin are carved arcane markings. And now I understand. These symbols are painted in the murdered man's blood. That's the reason why his home stinks so bad. The beer bottles fall from my grip and clatter to the floor as I notice his right hand. Oh, my bad. My brilliance with Tim really was a mistake. Another one for the resume, I might add. Because his right hand, it has no symbols carved into it. Instead, those bloated fingers rest on the keyboard, curled around a bloody knife. This is no murder, and he is no victim. Nope. He did this to himself. And in true Jack fashion, I've just locked myself in with him.